Alright, Shalom. Giving all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. It's your brother Atazawan Bayal. And I'm back with another lesson. And this lesson is going to be done a little bit differently. Okay? What you have in front of you is some footage of the tough times, what they called in the 60s, the civil rights. Okay, I'm going to let this film roll, and I'm going to get a number of scriptures to read, because we're at this day and time where it's time for the Idumeans, put it that way, to be prepared for their judgment. Okay, the Lord is setting the stage for his grand return. And these images, though they be from the 60s and they really, focused on what they call civil rights, and it particularly goes into the struggle that Jake had in the South. But we know that this happened in northern cities as well. Places like Chicago always had troubles. Alright. Other cities up there towards the north had all kind of riots and breakouts. You know about Los Angeles. Okay. So this was happening at a time, across the country. The unfair and unreasonable treatment of Jake. But this has been going on for a long time. Okay. And Yahushai is on his way back, man. And when you look at some of these devils, some of them are still on the earth today that you'll see, who are, police officers in this case. Some of them are just your everyday Joe Six-Pack Edomite. And some of these people are still alive. Okay. Now, I've freeze framed this portion right here because, of course, going through school, going through the public school system, they always like to show you these films, okay? And even they had a documentary series way back in the 70s. I think it was called Eyes on the Prize. And this older Jake man right here, I always felt something about this man, because this mob of Edomites attacked him and pushed him and knocked him down. And as you can see, he's well dressed and has his hat. And I don't know, this piece of film right here has always disturbed me, But anyway, we're gonna read some scriptures on these Idumeans, man, and what they really can expect that's going to happen to them. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to start this clip, and then I'm just going to read the scriptures. Okay, I may interject here and there, but just look at the treatment. Okay, and as I've always said, the 1960s, that's not ancient history. Okay. That's modern time. Okay? So this is the first scripture. Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again. And we know that this is spiritual Egypt, Babylon the Great. Okay? AKA USA. Alright? With ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. No man shall redeem us from the curses that the Lord put on us. And we had to go through all of this. For some of us it was our grandparents. For some of us it was our parents who literally experienced this. You see? So I'm gonna roll it right here, and this, like I said, this piece of clip right here, this always did something to me. But we're going to move on to the next scripture. All right. So this is because they got what people call hell. They got hell to pay. You see, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for our Lord to come back, because we got next. You see, these Idumeans, these Greeks, these Romans, these Americans, aka Europeans, you're in a whole lot of trouble for the things that you did to the children of Israel. This is Isaiah 47, starting at the top at verse 1. It says, Come down and sit in the dust, O daughter virgin of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. And we're looking at it in film. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man, as an angelic force. Yahushua is coming back. Verse 4, As for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee in the darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people, I have polluted my inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to the heart, neither didst remember in the latter end of it. Therefore hear now this, thou that go, so like thou that art given to pleasures, that dwelleth carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am and none else beside me, I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantments. You see, and we'll just stop right there, all right? Because these people practice witchcraft on a high level, those that are running the world today as we know it, right? The super banking families, the elites. But they got their low-level henchmen who've been running this place, right? Who have been doing their dirty work for them. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of thy people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. So the Lord has taken record of all the wickedness that the Idumeans have done ever since they've been in power. Okay, in both legs. All right, from the ancient Roman, Greek, and Roman empires unto today. You see, verse 14, neither should thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. Okay? So the Most High is going to destroy them. This is Isaiah 14, starting at the top at verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and send them in their and set them, Salakia, in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. They shall take them captives, whose captives they were. They shall rule over their oppressors. You got a lot to pay for, Esau. Verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased, right? Which is America. Verse 5, the Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow has come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at the coming. Salakia, at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Yeah. Verse 11, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? You see, because America has been the bully of the earth for 100 years or better in this modern time. Okay? And this place is going to be laid to waste and desolate. And all the other peoples, all the other nations are going to say, well, look at that. Look at big bad America. Brought down to the ground. You see? Verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend to heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, right? The Israelites. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And that's that God complex of the Idumeans. You see? Where they felt like this was their land. Even though they came here and they wiped out the northern kingdoms, tribes. You see? Just about. Alright? And we'll go on to the next scripture. That's good enough. This is Isaiah. Let's see here. 47. And let's go to Slovakia. That's not what I want. I have to drop down. Okay. Slovakia. This is Ezekiel. And we're going to hit these few scriptures, last scriptures, and just make the point. Okay? Bear with me just a second here. I'm going to start at the top. Ezekiel 35:1, and it reads, Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. Mount Seir is the same place, the same people. Okay? The Idumeans, so-called white man, the house of Esau, Edom. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh. You see, because of their pride, they think that they're on the level of the Most High. Alright, verse 5, Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. And even as you look at this footage from the 1960s, many were beaten, had their heads busted, were shot, many of Jakes, okay, lynched, all right. Of course, it was going on for many, many years prior to this, okay? But this gives you the idea of the turmoil and the unrest. You know, we're natural-born enemies, if you will, okay? Verse 6, Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolation, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Because thou hast said these two nations, right, the northern and the southern kingdoms, okay, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord Yahweh was there. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Power, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee, right? And that's coming into a clear picture now, you know, because Esau and his sister, they on the ropes, okay? And they don't know how to do the rope-a-dope. Verse 12, And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, They are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. You see? So they're not going to get away with anything. even though it looks like it, right? But now the vision is becoming clearer and clearer, okay? We can see that their system is crumbling right before their eyes, and there's nothing that they can do about it. All right? This is Ezekiel 36, starting at the top. And it reads, "Also thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord power, because the enemy has said against you, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Therefore prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord power, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are an infamy of the people. Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord power. Thus shall the Lord power to the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, and to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Therefore thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out to a prey." And haven't they done that over there, that place they call the Middle East in Israel? Right? Verse 6, "Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore thus saith the Lord power, I have lifted up mine hand. Surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches, and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. For behold, I am for you, and I will turn unto you, and ye shall be tilled and sown. And I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it, and the cities shall be inhabited, and the waste shall be builded." Okay, you can go on and read that, but this is a promise to the children of Israel, and in this day and time to the elect. The Lord is going to rebuild us, and he's in the process of doing that now. All right, so we just got a couple of more scriptures. This is Baruch chapter 4, and we'll also start at the top here. "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. Give not thy honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel." Though we went through all these things, okay, our punishment is coming to an end, and it's payback time, just about. Okay, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked me that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to the Most High. Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. For when he saw the wrath of the Most High coming upon you, she said, Hearken, O ye that dwell about Zion, God hath brought upon me great mourning. For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. So he sees this in a vision, right? Okay? With joy did I nourish them, but sent them away with weeping and mourning. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow, and forsaken of many who for the sins of my people am left desolate, because they departed from the law of the Most High. Right, that was our mistake in doing that, which is why we suffered all of these horrible things. You see? But now our punishment is just about up. They knew not, verse 13, they knew not his statutes, nor walked in the ways of his commandments, nor trod in the path of discipline in his righteousness. Let them that dwell about Zion come, and remember ye the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting hath brought upon them. For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverenced old men nor pitied child. And you see that in these video clips here. How they beating up on the women, right? How they dragging the young men, and so on. You see, they had no mercy for us. Grown men walking and begging for jobs so that they could eat. You see? These have carried away the dear beloved children of the widow, and that widow is Israel, and left her that was alone desolate without daughters, really of the men, okay, because they keep Negro, Latino, and Native American men down on the bottom, okay, to make them feel less than a man, less than human. See, they sick dogs on you, hit you with the water hose. All right. But what can I help you? For he hath brought these plagues upon you, will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. Go your way, O my children, go your way, for I am left desolate. I have put off the clothing of peace and put upon me the sackcloth of my prayer. I will cry unto the everlasting in my days. Be of good cheer, O my children, cry unto the Lord, and he will deliver you from the power and the hand of the enemies. See? And that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting on that deliverance. All right? Now let's go over to... go to John 16, and we'll jump in at verse 16. And because we know that the scriptures are manifold, right? When they were speaking during the time that Yahushua was on the earth 2,000 years ago, to those men that would later become the apostles, right? And as they preached, they brought many souls in through the Spirit. And so we look at it today, it's the same way, right? Through the Spirit, Yahushua is with us. And men have been preaching, and through the Spirit, many are returning. Okay, so when we look at this example, I kind of liken it to that. All right, so let's get into it. This is John 16 and 16, and it reads, a little while and ye shall not see me, and again a little while, and ye shall see me, because I go to the Father. Then said some of his disciples among themselves, what is this that he saith unto us? A little while, and ye shall not see me, and again a little while, and ye shall see me, and because I go to my Father. They didn't understand what he was talking about, the he being Yahushua. So it goes on and it says in verse 18, they said therefore, what is this that he saith a little while? We cannot tell what he saith. Now Yahushua knew that they were desirous to ask him, and said unto them, do ye inquire among yourselves of that I said, a little while and ye shall not see me, and again a little while and ye shall see me? Verily, verily, I say unto you that ye shall weep and lament, But the world shall rejoice, and ye shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned into joy. A woman, when she is in travail, has sorrow, because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remembereth no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world. And ye now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man taketh from you. So when you're looking at this, the whole nation of Israel suffered sorrow. You know, as we look at this film here, right? But that joy, we're not going to remember it when we get delivered, in the terms of we're not going to remember the pain because of all the joy that we're going to have. You see? So that's what I kind of liken it to. Of course, it was talking about his time when he would go to the cross and then be resurrected and then show himself again to them and then leave. Okay, in an ascension and go back up. All right, and so in this day and time, Israel has suffered sorrow for so many years, right? But when that joy comes, we ain't gonna even be thinking about this. It's gonna be like a bad dream. All right. So that's how I look at that sometimes when I read that. You know, I'm just speaking as a man. I'm just saying, you know, that that can be taken both ways. From 2,000 years ago, even up until today, when we see this, when we, Lord willing, we're part of that number, experience the coming of the Lord if we're still here on this planet when it happens, and be changed and be taken up in the chariots, and we're going to be hugging and laughing and crying, and we're not even going to be thinking about the pain and suffering, I would imagine. All right? So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to get out of this lesson. Okay? Lord willing, it was edifying and in some ways comforting. But you know what? There's hell to pay for Esau. It's coming to you. All right? In fact, let me get one more scripture if I can. What did I want to get? It's like it. Let's try. Revelation. Revelation 18:4, and it reads, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins," right? That we be taken up out of the way, okay? "And that ye receive not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities." Verse 6, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double." You see? So that's what's going to happen to this system, to these people that run this system, and to Babylon the Great. All right? Primarily because this is where the 12 tribes mostly are scattered. Okay? Sucks to be you, Esau. All right? And I'm going to end the lesson right here. Giving all praise to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. See you all again real soon with another lesson, Lord willing. Shalom.